Have you ever felt like your life has stopped? That no matter how hard you try, something invisible seems to stop you? What doors that were about to open simply close, and everything that seemed on track suddenly falls apart? Have you ever wondered if there is a spiritual force acting against you? Maybe you are facing a spiritual block, and the burning question is, how can you use your faith to break this blockage and unlock your life? That's what we need to talk about today, because there are a lot of people trapped spiritually and don't even know it. You wake up every day with a tired body, a confused mind, a downcast soul. It lives in a cycle of repetition where nothing moves forward. Relationships fall apart, the money disappears, opportunities evaporate, and behind all this, there is something invisible but real, a spiritual blockage. These blockages don't come out of nowhere. They are fueled by unhealed pain, old traumas, negative words you heard or spoke, envy that you received silently, unresolved emotions, thoughts of failure and fear that you cultivated throughout the days. Time passes, and what was an emotional problem turns into a spiritual prison. And when the soul is trapped, nothing flows anymore. But here's a truth that needs to resonate within you. There is no spiritual prison that resists the strength of a living, sincere, and directed faith. We are not talking about religiosity. We are talking about connection. We are talking about faith that touches the invisible and moves the spiritual. That faith that does not depend on what the eyes see, but on what the heart believes. Faith that does not surrender to circumstances because it knows that above any blockage, there is a God who breaks chains and opens paths. Did you know that faith is one of the greatest instruments of spiritual cleansing that exist? When you activate your faith, you change the vibration of your energy field. You break invisible bonds. You undo spiritual knots that were preventing your life from flowing. Faith is not just believing. Faith is acting in the spiritual world with authority. Faith is declaring firmly that you no longer accept living stuck, tied, limited. How many times have you knelt and prayed, but got up the same way? Maybe because you did it with just words, but not with true faith. True faith bothers the spiritual world. It shakes structures. It generates movement. It attracts the presence of God. She brings light where there was only shadow, and it is precisely this light that begins to dissolve the blockages, the light that penetrates hidden areas of the soul where old wounds are stored, the light that expels the spiritual darkness that was draining your energy, your courage, and your hope. But for this light to enter, you need to light the flame of faith within you. Have you ever stopped to think about how many blessings were prevented from reaching you because of doubt, fear, or lack of faith? How many opportunities would pass by because you were so stuck in the pain of the past that you couldn't see God's new coming? How many times have you boycotted yourself without realizing it because you believed you weren't worthy, that you weren't capable, that there wasn't time? This is also blocking. And faith is the antidote. Faith breaks the cycle of spiritual self-sabotage. She puts you on your feet, even when everything around you screams for you to give up. Faith positions you in front of the invisible. She declares to the spiritual world that you know who you are, you know what you carry, and you know where you are going. But it's not enough to say, "I have faith." It is necessary to put faith in movement. You need to pray with intention. You have to declare with your soul. It is necessary to break spiritually toxic habits. You need to clean the house, clean the heart, clean the mind. And this only happens when you use faith as an instrument of transformation. Faith is not passive. She is powerful. It invades environments. She touches where no one else can touch. When you declare with faith that you are breaking every spiritual blockage, that you are undoing every energetic bond, that you are freeing yourself from every invisible bond, spiritual forces react. And that's when the sky moves in your favor. Therefore, if your life is stuck, if you feel like you are surrounded by something that prevents you from growing, from smiling, from prospering, don't accept this as normal. This could be a spiritual block, and you have a powerful weapon in your hands, your faith. Use it. Declare, cry out, believe, react spiritually. Faith does not eliminate battles, but it gives you the authority to win them. Faith is what separates fear from courage, paralysis from movement, defeat from victory. Faith connects you with the Creator, and when this connection is real, no blockage can last for long. You need to remember who you are in the spiritual world. You need to recognize the strength you carry when you decide to use your faith. Because the invisible world responds to what you carry inside. And if you carry faith, you carry power. And I want to hear from you. Do you feel that there are spiritual blockages in your life? Have you tried everything and nothing has changed? Are you willing to use your faith with authority? Comment below. Tell me what you feel, what you have experienced, what your spirit has asked for in silence. And if this video is touching your heart like now, share with someone who also needs to hear this. Many people are spiritually trapped and don't even know it, but you can be the channel of liberation. In the next part, I will show you how to apply faith with practical actions to dissolve these spiritual blocks that hold your life back. Let's take steps of liberation, cleansing, and spiritual strengthening. Get ready, because faith will begin to open the paths that have been closed for too long. Get ready, because faith will begin to open the paths that have been closed for too long. And the first step towards this is act spiritually with intentionality. It's not enough to want change. You have to provoke her. You have to rise up spiritually, even when everything in you wants to be silent. It is at this time that faith enters, like an invisible sword, cutting chains, undoing bonds, destroying spiritual walls that have surrounded you for years. Many of the blocks we face are not in the material world. They are in the spiritual roots that have been formed over time. Words spoken by others that hurt you, curses that were cast, bonds with people who carried negative energies and who, without realizing it, bonded with you in a spiritual way. It all adds up. All of this becomes weight. All of this becomes a wall between you and what God has prepared for your life. And when faith is activated, these walls begin to crumble. But you need to position yourself. Faith needs to be accompanied by spiritual action. Have you been praying deeply? Have you declared victory with the authority of those who believe? Or have you just been repeating empty words without really connecting with what you're saying? Prayer with faith is not just a request. It is a release of power. When you pray, believing, with your heart aligned with the Spirit, the sky moves. In your favor, spiritual portals open, invisible chains break. The darkness that was around him began to dissipate because the light of faith began to shine. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever felt that your prayer brought peace where there was only storm? Have you ever seen an answer arrive? At the exact moment you decided to hand everything over to God with real faith. Maybe you are facing a spiritual block right now. Maybe you're scared, tired, without the strength to continue. But faith is the spark that reignites the fire within you. She is the divine breath that raises even the fallen. And when you act with faith, even what seemed impossible begins to give way. And do you know what else blocks spiritual action? The fear, the doubt, the resentment, the lack of forgiveness. All of this poisons your spiritual field. Therefore, in addition to prayer, you need to do an interior cleaning. Look inside and release what no longer serves you. Remove from your heart what holds your soul. Forgive yourself, forgive others. Break away from everything that is keeping you trapped. Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to declare out loud that you no longer accept living spiritually stuck? Do you have the courage to stand up now and say, I believe, and by faith I am breaking every spiritual block in my life. If this resonates with you, write it here in the comments. I believe in the power of faith. I break every spiritual blockage in the name of God. Declare this publicly. Write with faith. Your words have power. Your faith is a seed that, when sown with truth, transforms the invisible. Faith that heals also frees. The faith that moves. Mountains also unlocks paths. And when you walk in faith, even if the scenario still seems difficult, you feel like something is changing inside. And that is where true liberation begins. Sometimes spiritual blocks don't disappear overnight. They're like walls that crumble stone by stone, and every step of faith you take, every prayer you sincerely say, every thought you choose to transform, is one less stone in that wall that prevented you from living what is rightfully yours. Have you ever stopped to think about how many blessings you may be pushing away by carrying hurt, fear, or disbelief? Have you ever wondered if what you feel in your heart today is aligned with what your soul wants to experience? Have you noticed that sometimes we ourselves are the ones who sabotage God's actions because we don't believe we deserve it? But let me remind you of something. You deserve to live in spiritual freedom. You were born to win, to grow, to have peace. And faith is the path that reconnects you with this truth. It doesn't matter what they did to you. It doesn't matter how much they've hurt you or how many times you've fallen. What matters now is what you do with it. Will you continue to accept living spiritually limited? Will you continue to accept this stagnation as if it were normal? Or will you use your faith as a weapon and start changing this reality today? Tell me here in the comments, do you believe you are facing some spiritual blockage? Have you ever experienced moments when everything seemed stuck without explanation? How do you deal with this? Share your experience. Let's create a space for healing and liberation here in the comments. Sometimes your story can touch someone who is silently going through the same situation. And if this video is making sense to you, it is opening your eyes and activating your faith. Don't forget to like now. This helps me understand that this content is reaching those who need it. And more than that, share this video with someone you love, someone you know is going through a difficult time and needs to hear this message. Many people are suffering spiritually because they don't understand what is happening, because she was not taught to use faith as a tool for liberation. But you can be the channel that brings light where there is only darkness. And in the next video, let's go together, learn prayers and practical attitudes to cleanse the spiritual field. Strengthen your faith and break once and for all with everything that holds you back spiritually. Get ready, because faith will take you to the place where your soul already belongs, a place of light, freedom, and renewal. If this video is touching you, like it now. This helps spread this message to those who need it. And share with someone who needs to learn to put faith into practice, someone who is stuck, discouraged, and that you can free yourself with a simple prayer said with truth. In the next part, let's go together. Learn step by step how to do strong prayers, spiritual baths, words of liberation and actions that cleanse the spiritual field.